Smokeless chimney, 10 states and one agency. Let's sue the EPA. The best flames on the net. If I count correctly, 10 states and one agency has sued the EPA. Just what are they doing? I'm not sure, but we're going to go through this. United States District Court for the District of Columbia, State of New York, State of Alaska, State of Illinois, State of Maryland, Massachusetts, State of Minnesota, State of New Jersey, State of Oregon, State of Vermont, State of Washington, and the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. Disclaimer: I am not an attorney. I have been an expert witness and have been in court several times, but that doesn't make me any expert on this subject. It's one thing when a party threatens a lawsuit, but when they file a lawsuit, things get serious. Collectively, these states bring this action to compel the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, to comply with discretionary duty under the Clean Air Act to review and revise as necessary the new source performance standard for particulate matter pollution from new residential wood heaters. The states seek an injunction requiring defendants to promptly propose and take final agency action on the NSPS by dates certain. Statutory and regulatory framework. Section 111 of the Act requires the EPA to develop air pollution control performance standards that apply to specific categories of stationary sources. Section 111B requires the administrator to list categories of stationary sources that the administrator finds causes, contributes, or significantly to air pollution, which may reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health or welfare. Factual background. A. Wood smoke pollution. Wood smoke contains several harmful pollutants, including fine particulate matter, carbon monoxide, and polycyclical aromatic hydrocarbons. These pollutants are linked to adverse coronary and pulmonary health effects, including premature death. The EPA has documented the harms from exposure to fine particulate matter and in most recent proposal to strengthen the national ambient air quality standards. Other studies also confirm that PM 2.5 exposures cause severe health impacts, including increased cancer rates and dementia rates and reduced childhood lung functions. According to EPA's 2020 National Emissions Inventory, residential wood heaters emitted 485,000 tons of PM 2.5, which represents about 8% of total PM 2.5 emissions in the United States. In some states, the PM 2.5 emissions from residential wood heaters accounts for a much greater percentage of total PM 2.5. For example, in Vermont, residential wood heaters emissions make up about 59% of total PM 2.5 emissions. In New York, the percentage is about 27%, and Alaska about 56% in the Fairbanks North Star Borough non-attainment area. Wood heater emissions injure the state's air quality. EPA's failure to timely review and revise the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters. In 2013, various states sued the EPA and its administrator to update the 1988 new source performance standard for residential wood heaters. In 2014, the parties entered into a partial consent decree in which EPA and its administrator agreed to issue an updated new source performance standard by date certain. In 2015, EPA issued a final rule and phased standards for residential wood heaters. The first set of standards went into effect in 2015 and the second in 2020. Defendants have not updated the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters since 2015. More than 8 years have passed since the EPA issued the 2015 new source performance standard. EPA's ineffective wood heater testing and certification program. Evidence that EPA testing and certification program is not effective is ensuring that the new residential wood heaters comply with emission limits demonstrates the importance of updating the residential wood heater new source performance standard. Following initial concerns that EPA residential wood heater certification program was not effective, the Northeast states have coordinated air use management and the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation coordinated review of 250 certified wood heaters. The study evaluated EPA's compliance program with the 2015 new source performance standard, Northeast states for coordinated air use management, assessment of EPA's residential wood heater certification program. The study identified deficiencies in all reviewed test reports. These deficiencies included lack of publicly available certification test reports and failure to show that the certification tests were conducted according to EPA standards. EPA's own Inspector General's office corroborated the results of the study. EPA Office of Inspector General, the EPA's residential wood heater program does not provide reasonable assurance that heaters are properly tested and certified before reaching consumers. Further, the Inspector General's office found that EPA lacks internal controls to ensure that certification tests are appropriately conducted because it lacks procedures to review test reports, does not conduct audit tests, does not have standard templates for test reports, does not use staff with appropriate expertise, and has not exercised oversight authority. Additionally, certification test methods also contain vague language, create imprecise expectations for what fuel must be used during testing, and does not represent real-world conditions. EPA has withdrawn certain ineffective tests, but allowed residential wood heaters certified with those withdrawn tests to remain on the market until those certifications expired, which could be as late as 2027. EPA has also acknowledged the deficiencies identified in the Inspector General's report. Nevertheless, although it has some intermediate goals, EPA has stated that it does not plan to finalize the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters until November of 2027, more than 12 years after the 2015 new source performance standard. Moreover, EPA asserts that the November 2027 date is only aspirational. Notice of violation non-discretionary duty under the Clean Air Act. On June 29, 2023, the state sent a citizen suit notice letter by certified mail to the EPA administrator notifying him of the violation of a non-discretionary duty under a lot of numbers and of the state's intention to commence a lawsuit if EPA and its administrator did not correct the violations within 60 days. On its website, EPA acknowledged receipt of this notice letter on June 30th, 2023. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency notice of intent to sue the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. More than 60 days have passed since this defendant's receipt of the notice letter, and defendants have not completed a rulemaking reviewing as appropriate revising the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters. Claim for relief. As set forth in the preceding paragraphs, despite the expiration of the mandatory 8-year statutory deadline for the administrator to complete the required notice and comment rulemaking to review the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters and make any necessary revisions, the administrator has failed to perform this non-discretionary duty. The administrator's failures to timely complete review and promulgate necessary revisions to the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters violates 42 U.S.C. and some more digits, and continues to this day. The violation constitutes a failure of the administrator to perform any act or duty under this chapter which is non-discretionary with the administrator. The delay caused by the administrator's failure has harmed and continues to harm the states by delaying the adoption and implementation of more protective new source performance standards for residential wood heaters, including indoor heaters and outdoor wood boilers. That will result in cleaner air and healthier air for the states, benefiting the health and welfare of their citizens. Further, the EPA's failure to update the new source performance standards for residential wood heaters frustrates the state's ability to implement the Clean Air Act and makes it more difficult for states to attain or maintain compliance with NAAQS for fine particulate matter. Difficulty with maintaining compliance with NAAQS will both negatively harm the health of our residents and force the states to allocate additional resources for control of PM 2.5. Additionally, many states have spent state money to subsidize wood, stove, change-out programs. If newer wood heaters do not meet cleaner standards in real-world emissions, then programs to change out old wood heaters may provide little health benefits at significant public cost. Requested relief. Wherefore, the states respectfully request this court enter a judgment against defendant as follows. A. Declaring the defendants are in violation of the Act for failing to timely review and, as necessary, revise the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters. B. Adjoining defendants to promptly complete review, propose, and promulgate necessary revisions to the new source performance standard for residential wood heaters pursuant by certain dates. C. Award the states the cost of litigation, including reasonable attorney fees. D. Retaining jurisdiction over the matter until such time as the defendants have complied with their non-discretionary duties. E. Other relief as the court deems just and proper. Dated September 21st, 2023. This is the commentary section where I look through and talk about what we just found out. And it appears that the air quality in many states is not getting better, and states want to take over some of this stuff until the EPA finishes this process. What is this going to mean for wood stoves? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. But thanks for watching. The Smokeless Chimney, www.smokelesschimney.com.